Yes, we can hear you.
I have to take care of this, but yeah. So those who are making, I have no time. That's it. That's what he calls me Vazna. Okay, good. Yeah, I understand. Am I on? Want to get me on? Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to. How to get there?
You're on. You're all set.
Oh, okay. Gotta hang up. People are waiting for me. Bye. So where are the guys supposed to have my Kumzits?
Do you guys want to come?
I thought the guys wanted to come. I want to see myself. Today is Tisha B'Av, Tov Shin Pei. Tisha B'Av is a time when I find myself typically in Camp Morasha. This year, Camp Morasha is closed. And I'm happy to be here in Riverdale. I'm speaking to you from the Young Israel of Riverdale. We're Baruch Hashem, with gratitude towards the Shul's administration and to all the wonderful people who have helped us out. We are running we call the Morash HaKolel East, which we've, Baruch Hashem, now going on for quite a while. And we're learning together, and Talmidim have their place to sleep and have what to eat. Baruch Hashem. It all requires work. But this is Corona. This is the year of Tavshin Pei of Corona, where everyone has to do what they can. Every man, every woman has to step up to the plate and fulfill the role that the Ribono Shel Olam wants them to fill. For some, it means staying at home to be safe. For some, it means going to shul. Everyone has their own situation. And I'm fully aware of the fact that everyone has their own sensitivities, how we respond to this crisis of Corona, how dangerous we think it really is a matter of opinion, both amongst the doctors, amongst the Rabbanim, amongst the various communities. As I mentioned this morning on the Zoom for the keynotes, our main role is to maintain a sense of harmony in Klal Yisrael. We know that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam. And the Yerushalmi tells us, Kol darash lo nivneh Beis HaMikdash b'yamav kilu charav b'yamav, which I understand to mean that if we would correct the mistake of yesteryear, eliminate sinas chinam, the Beis HaMikdash would be rebuilt immediately. That's why our generation is viewed as if the Mikdash was destroyed now, because we haven't improved. We're unfortunately still racked with sinas chinam, unfortunately. And therefore, every single person, both in the room and on the Zoom, who has the ability to eliminate sinas chinam and to create avas chinam, it's a great mitzvah, and you are bringing the geula closer. We all want the geula to come quickly. We daven for it all the time. Let's do something about it. It's not enough to daven for it. You have to do something about it. There's something to do about it. It's very clear. Eliminate the sin which caused it. And the Gemara in Yuma Daf Testament Bay says that in some ways, the sinas chinam was worse than all the terrible sins of the Bayis Rishon. Because Bira Tochiach, the first Beis HaMikdash, came back 70 years later to be rebuilt. Well, we're now almost 2,000 years later, still not rebuilt. So apparently this sin of sinas chinam is so serious that we're still in a state of churban. I'd like to welcome everybody on the Zoom. I have my choir behind me in the room. You may not be able to see them. I hope you'll be able to hear them. It's my fault. I'm taking up most of the screen. The boys are behind me, on the side of me, in different places, and we appreciate their backup. When I was asked to do this is not my comfort zone. I was asked to do the keynotes this morning. That was okay. I did it every single year. But in Tisha B'Av in Camp Morasha, we don't have these kumzitzes. But when I was asked by Rob Shur, he said, there's a tradition. The NCSY Kolel has a Kumzits every year by the Kosel Hamaravi, and it's attended by many, many people. I saw recently somebody wrote about it. Is it correct? Is it not correct? And everyone extending the Kumzits to Leil Tisha B'Av, which I think is certainly not so appropriate. But he said it's not happening at the Kosel Hamaravi. Would I be willing to step into the void? So, I told you in Corona, I say yes to just about everything. And I didn't know, though, what goes on. I've never been Zoicha to be the NCSY Kolel for their Kumzits. So I called one of my Talmidim, who's been there for many, many years, and he gave me a list of Nigunim. And I'm going to follow his list of Nigunim as much as I can, with a couple of words of introduction here and there. So apparently the first Nigun, that's always sung at these events, is the Dveikus Nigun, which has both Shema Kolenu and Hashivenu in it. You know that Shema Kolenu and Hashivenu, they come together not every day, not on a daily basis when we say Shema Kolenu, not on Tisha B'Av when we say Hashivenu. It's on Yomim Noraim. It's the Slichos for Yomim Noraim. We say Shema Kolenu, we open the Aron Kodesh, and we right away say Hashivenu. And frankly, what a beautiful way to start this Kumzits with you together, because we're all so concerned about Yom Noraim. Now that we've somehow or other passed the hurdle of Tisha B'Av, which is not so easy in some places, Zooms and outdoors and indoors, complications. This is nothing compared to the complication of Yom Noraim, which is about to come upon us. And then in our shul, for example, they're talking about multiple minyanim and indoors and outdoors and staggered and who knows what. We don't even know what's going to be like for what comes Rosh Hashanah. And we know today's day is Tisha B'Av. We know that in 7 weeks is Rosh Hashanah. It's by the calendar. So let us sing together this beautiful tune from the Dveikus of Shema Kolenu and Hashivenu. That Kadosh Baruch Hu should listen to our tefillas and bring us back. That's exactly the combination which the Bali HaMesorah put into the Slichos together. So I ask you to all, wherever you are, to join in this nigun. One moment, please. I don't hear you. Okay, you want to take my phone? Oh. What are you doing? My techies are helping me out here. Gives me one moment. I have two techies who saved me this morning. I couldn't get on the Zoom. I was iced out of my own Zoom. Baruch Hashem. It means there were at least 300 people on it, and I was 301 or 300 and who knows what. But I was told that those who couldn't get on were able to live stream it. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but Baruch Hashem, that those who wanted to get on were able to get on in a different fashion. I see in the sign it says I have 28 screens. I'm not so good at math.
Rabbi, we now have 700 people on here.
I know. I can multiply. I was a math major. 28 by 25 is 700. This I know. So I appreciate that all 700 people should sing together. Okay, we'll sing together, bring the Gula closer. Just give me 1 minute till my techie gives me the green light. I'll be able to sing all together. Baruch Hashem, it's a large crowd. How we do? So are you finished? Okay. So how do I get out of this thing on the screen? Okay. Since I'm leading the Kumzits, I have to sing on my key. I have it's not such a high key, but I hope it'll be good for everybody in the room and everyone on the Zoom. Please, let's join together. Shema Koleinu Hashem Elokeinu Heichus v'rachem Chus v'rachem Aleinu Shema Koleinu Hashem Eichos v'rachem, Eichos v'rachem, Aleinu, Hashivenu, Hashem Elecha, Hashem Elecha, Hayvena Shuva, Hashivenu, Hashem Elecha, Hashem Elecha, Vena Shuva. One more time, Shema Koleinu, Hashem Elokeinu, Eichos v'rachem, Eichos v'rachem, Aleinu, Shema Koleinu, Hashem Elokeinu, Eichos v'rachem, Chos v'rachem, Aleinu, Hashivenu, Hashem Elecha, Hashem Elecha, Hayvena Shuva, Hashivenu, Hashem Elecha, Hashem Elecha, Hayvena Shuva. I apologize for those whom I started too low, so you weren't able to join, but the next one is even lower. I was asked to do the old, slow, Kalbach Memkomcha. Now that is a niggin to end all nigunim. It's a beautiful, beautiful niggin, but it's a very, 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 very big range. If you don't start very low, there's no way to get to the top. So once again, I ask for forgiveness if you start the old Memkomcha. It's a very beautiful song in my family. We were Kalbach fans in the 1950s, that when they first started coming out, my mother, Aleha Shalom, would love to sing this nigun long before the Numim Komcha that became more popular. This is with the classic musicians from that particular period of the late 50s. So please join for this beautiful, beautiful, haunting nigun that everyone, at least from my time, loves so much. And even they made a bit of a comeback in the present, notwithstanding the Numim Komcha and its tremendous popularity. So we're asked to do the old Numim Komcha. Ay mimikamecha, ay mimikamecha, ay vei ma wa 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 keinu,
mechakim v'simloch aleinu ki mechakim. How many guys? Anachnu lach Haimosai 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 Timloch Betzion Hay bekarav hay biyameinu le'olam va'ed tishkon hay tizgadel v'tizgadesh hay b'sach Yerushalayim Ircha Ledar hay vadar Netzach Netzachim V'einenu Sirena Hay Sirena Hay Malchus Elohecha Kadavar Hey Amor Eshirei Uzecha V'al Yedei Hey David Hey Mashiach Tzidkecha. I'll do an ad lib and do the Nubim Komcha. Even though it's not on my list, how can we not do the Nubim Komcha, which everybody loves so much? I mean, Hey Sophia, Hay Vesim Lav Aleinu Ki Mechakim Anachnu Lav Ay 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 Hay Mosai Tila Hay Besia The Dor Vador means from one generation to the next, without a generation gap, to be able to transmit the Mesorah from one generation to the next one. That's each and every person's responsibility. Well, the Netzach Netzachim, that's forever and ever and ever. That's from the Rabbanu Shalom, the Netzach Netzachim. But we have to do our share to see to it that we will fulfill our Dor Vador. The next niggin is V'li Yerushalayim Ircha. Shalayim Ircha is a wonderful, beautiful niggin. From the very beginning of the Dveikus. Let's sing it with Dveikus, because that's what Tisha B'Av is all about. Please join. V'li Yerushalayim Ircha Birachamim Birachamim Tashuv V'sishkon V'socha Kasher Dibarta V'sishkon V'socha Kasher Dibarta V'li Yerushalayim Birachamim Tashuv V'sishkon V'socha Kasher Dibarta V'sishkon V'socha Kasher Dibarta Ay 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 Uvnei Osa Bekara Heyameinu Binyad Olam V'chisei David David Avdecha Ameira V'sochatakim Ay 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 Uvnei Osa Bekara Ay Heyameinu Binyad Olam V'chisei David David Avdecha Ay Meira L'sochatakim My memories of this niggin are attached to Camp Morashah. This is, after all, Morashah Kolel East. In Camp Morashah, this thing was very, very popular in the 80s when it first came out on Dveikus. And I have such fond memories of Rav Nochem Siegel, then known as Stretch, who was a division head who took care of one of my sons for 4 years in a row, which we're eternally grateful to him, as he told him many times. As he moved from Nitzis to Shtilis, for those Morashah alums in the room or in the Zoom. And he would lead this niggin at the Lava Malchus that we used to go to in the old main dining room, for those who know what I'm saying, the old main dining room, which has now been updated. And we had these beautiful memories. It's late, Motzi Shabbos, 1 o'clock in the morning. It was so beautiful, everyone singing together. But this was advertised, perhaps a little bit without the consent of the parties involved, as a Kumzits of myself and my sons. Now, I hope that 3 of my sons are sleeping in the Holy Land. That's now at 1:30 in the morning. But even the ones here, I'm not sure if they're on or they're not on. But I took the liberty of harmonizing, which I usually don't do on a Kumzits, because in the Shiriyah of 1984, that's dating myself, my 2 sons, my twin sons, Rafal and Moshe, were the ones who sang at the Shiriyah. Rafal did the melody and Moshe did the harmony. I think they're still fighting. Did he hit that high note or not? I think the argument still goes on in some places. And believe it or not, the boys won Shiriyah that year, which for those who know Morashah, that's a very rare occurrence. So this particular tune and its particular connection to my own sons, I felt I should at least do the harmony for this particular niggin. I'm told we have to do the next Imesh Kachech, all of them. I'd like to share with you something which I spoke about to my Talmidim here, many of them were behind me, this past Shabbos, which is also a Camp Morashah memory from exactly 1 year ago. We're now in the midst of Corona. I've said that Corona is a case of Tzoras Achronos Meshachros and Sarishonos. As the Gemara has this in Masechta Brachos Daf Yud Gimel. The terrible tragedy of Corona, all the virus and all the sickness and all the losses of Parnas, it's staggering. But a little over a year ago, we were worried about Chalila V'chas shootings in Pittsburgh and California, and then this attack in Muncie. Terrible. We somehow, the Tzoras Achronos, have made us not forget, but to put that in the back burner. But exactly a year ago, there was another tzara here in New York State, where I'm singing from, where many of you are on the Zoom, I recognize from New York State as well, where the New York State wanted to impose its educational value system on all the schools, public and private, and bring them up to their level of acceptance of various activities and values and adding different classes, which the yeshivas did not want to do. You may remember there was a whole tumult. I was in Yeshiva University, where I'm proud to be a member of the faculty, and I was visited by a whole delegation from Agudas Yisrael of America, some very important personages, and they pleaded with Rabbi Shechter and myself and other Rabbanim who were there. We have to do something about this. This would be a disaster for all yeshivas. We have to be unified. Even though, as we know, within the spectrum, there are some yeshivas have more secular studies, some have less secular studies, some have almost no secular studies, but you can't allow the government to impose its will upon us. As I mentioned this morning in the Zoom, in the keynotes, unfortunately this came out because some individuals who grew up Hasidic and left, they went to the government to complain about the inferior secular education that they're getting in those schools. I'm not here to argue with their premise, but I'm here to argue, as I said this morning on 3 different occasions, you're not allowed to go to the government to resolve disputes in the Jewish community. It happened with Hercules and Aristobulus. That's how the whole Bayis Sheni was destroyed, because we brought Rome into it. Look at the Ramban, the beginning of Vayishlach. We brought them in. It happened in the Middle Ages when the pro-Rambam and anti-Rambam, the anti-Rambam brought in the Dominican monks. They burned the Rambam, and therefore they burned the Gemara, according to Rav Hillel of Verona, and it happened last year in New York State as well. We cannot resolve our disputes by going to government. It's terribly wrong, and it's always counterproductive. But I was called in Camp Mordechai last summer by one of the members of that committee. He wants to video me and to put out a video which will come out in time for Labor Day to get everybody to petition the government to renege. And they want they want 4 different people on this video. 4 people. I said, who are the 4 people? He said, well, Rabbi Yisrael Reisman Shlita, whom I know, who's the Rosh Yeshiva in Tarvadas, he's going to represent what they call the Yeshiva community. And then they're going to have Hasidish Dayan, I think they took a Belzer Dayan, represented, I think he spoke in Yiddish, with English subtitles, the Hasidic community. And then, of course, they had to have a Sephardic Rav, a Choshev, a Sephardic Rav, to represent the Sephardic community. And they asked me, Ani HaKatan, I should represent what they called the more modern community. The word modern is a very difficult word to translate. They won't go into it right now. It's still not on Tisha B'Av. But they needed me. So I said, yes, here in Mordechai we have videography, we have a special room. They just built it. It's a beautiful room. No. We're sending our man to you. To me, I'm 150 miles. We're sending him to you. A wonderful Yid came to me. He said, where can I do this? I said, the only place where there's some privacy is what Mordechai Kolniks will smile in the trailer. Those who know. A little tiny room, and that's where it was filmed. And they told me in advance they're going to cut me down. Because the whole video is going to be a total of 1 minute. And there are going to be 4 speakers. 1 minute. I said, fine, cut me all you want, I don't care. I said what I had to say. It turned out there was almost 2 minutes, and the 4 speakers in fact spoke. This was done during the 9 days. That's when things happen. That Friday night, I have my annual Shabbat Chazon Tish. For those who are not in Mordechai, we are in what we call the Kollel, which is, I would say, almost a mile from the main dining room. And once a year, I come down with my whole group behind me to give a tish for the entire staff in the main dining room. And last year, I had this thought, this machshava, which I didn't know about the NCSY, all of them. I said to myself, you know what? I know 4 Imesh Kachech. I know 4. And now they sing them at weddings. When I got married, we never sang Imesh Kachech. No, they broke a glass. Rav Soloveitchik put ashes on my head. That, yes. But singing? They weren't singing in those years. The first one to introduce singing at a wedding was of Moshe Tzvi Nerio, Zichrono Livracha. He introduced the Imesh Kachech, which he sang, and I mentioned it this past Shabbos. People complained, this Naya Maisis, do Chadoshim Mikarovo. They went to Rabbi Shlomo Zalman to complain. Rabbi Shlomo Zalman said, what a beautiful thing the Rav Nerio has introduced into his community. That we don't just perfunctorily break a glass. We sing it together. We focus on it. We internalize it. What a beautiful, beautiful minhag, this Imesh Kachech. And that's what was sung for many years, Imesh Kachech. That tune, I recall, was sung at Shir Amalos through the 3 weeks in many of the Hesed Yeshivas. That's my recollection. Beautiful tune from Abneria. I guess he would be called let's just finish up. And that was sung at weddings. Later, at all the weddings of my children, every one of them, we sang a different Imesh Kachech, which is authored by someone who, for our purposes, since Rabbi Neriel will be the more modern, he was a Bnei Akiva Rosh Yeshiva, we needed someone to represent the yeshivas, someone who learned in Lakewood Yeshiva. His name is Shlomo Kalbach. I don't know if the yeshiva should view him as one of their own, but for our purposes, he is someone who learned in the yeshiva, and he had a beautiful Imesh Kachech, which is sung at all of my children's weddings. But then, even that one, in certain parts of the world, was supplanted in some sense by a beautiful Imesh Kachech composed by Rav Twersky Shlita, Hasidish Rebbe from Milwaukee. And that became the Imesh Kachech, which is the most current. But even that passed, and now the most famous Imesh Kachech at weddings, it surpassed them all in terms of frequency, is the Imesh Kachech, which is sung by a great Sephardic artist named Shweki. So I imagine that when they gave me this piece of paper which says Imesh Kachech, all of them, didn't say how many, all, maybe there are 10 others, but we're going to do these 4 together. And I'll ask my chaver in the back that if I get one of them wrong, you'll help me out. It's so hard to keep all four in mind, but we'll try to do it together. So let's sing together Imesh Kachechi Yerushalayim with great intention. We're not going to forget Yerushalayim. We'll never forget Yerushalayim. Never ever we forget Yerushalayim. And as I mentioned this morning, the Chassam Sofer says, we're now in Tisha B'Av, Kol HaMis'abel al Yerushalayim, Zoche v'roa b'simchasa. Not future tense, present tense. Because if we remember Yerushalayim, we're guaranteed it's going to come back. All the other great empires came and went. No one's crying over them. No one's remembering them because they're gone and forever. The fact that we remember 2,000 years later indicates there's going to be a future. There's going to be another Yerushalayim very soon, we hope. We've already come back to some extent to Yerushalayim, Baruch Hashem. We hope to the full extent of Shivat Yerushalayim with the Binyan Beis HaMikdash. Please join for the Imesh Kacheks. Imesh Kachech Yerushalayim Tishkach Yemini Imesh Kachech Yerushalayim Tishkach Yemini Tidbak Lishoni Tishkach Yemini Tidbak Lishoni Haylewechiki Hayim Lo Eskirechi Hayim Eshkochech. Harmony Yerushalayim Hay Tishkach Tishkach Yemini Hay Tidbak Lishoni Hay Lewechiki Yerushalayim Hayal Rosh Haysim Chasi Imlaleh Et Yerushalayim Hayal Rosh Simchasi take a break between the two and the two. This brings back memories again of my sons. I said it was sung at all of my children's weddings. Who sang? Not some fancy singer, some great musician that we imported. My children, my son sang it. And later my sons-in-law joined in singing them. There was a significant choir singing this with the beautiful harmonies. It brings back so great memories of those beautiful weddings. But at the same time, even at a wedding when we're so happy, we have to remember Yerushalayim. Im eshkachech Yerushalayim eshkach yemini tidbak lishoni haylechi ki himla eskerechi ayim eskachech Yerushalayim Tishkach yemini tidbak lishoni lechi ki himla eskerechi ayim lo aleh es Yerushalayim hayarosh simchasi hayim lo aleh es Yerushalayim hayarosh simchasi hayim lo aleh es Yerushalayim hayarosh simchasi hayim lo aleh es Yerushalayim hayarosh simchasi. The range on this next one is so high that even in this past Shabbos we sang it, we couldn't do it as low as we started, but we'll try again. Only Shreika can do it. Other people, even in the weddings, they go down at the end. We'll see. We'll try it. Im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yemini tidbak lishoni haylechi ki himlo eskerechi im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yemini tidbak lishoni haylechi ki imlo eskerechi Simchasi. Hey, Arosh, Arosh, Simchasi. Hayim lo aleh. Hayim lo aleh. Es Yerushalayim. Arosh, Simchasi. Hey, Arosh, Arosh, Simchasi. We made it. You have to always start low, Rabbosai. It's your reader, the Tzarech Aliyah. You start low enough, you can hit almost anything. So it's a lesson in life, not just in singing. Always try to be low, be humble, be modest. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings you higher. You start high, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes you down. You know what it says in the Mochich Ramaya Mazaket Kefifin. We say it in Azmiros. In the Nusach Svaz. We say it in Ezra Savosein, who is something similar. You should try to start low. The next, skipping one, it's not on my repertoire. Shivchi Kamayim is the next one. Shivchi Kamayim is always the first niggin. Always, always, always. The first niggin in my Shabbos Chazon Tish. And the reason is because it comes from Eicha. Comes from Eicha. Please join. It also has a bit of a range. Shivchi Kamayim, Kamayim Libech. Hainoach B'nei Hashem. Oy Shivchi Kamayim, Kamayim Libech. Nochach B'nei Hashem. Oy Shivchi Kamayim, Kamayim Libech. Hey Nochach B'nei Hashem. Shivchi Kamayim, Kamayim Libech. Hey Nochach B'nei Hashem. Ay 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 ay. Hey Shivchi Kamayim Libech. Harmony. Hey Nochach B'nei Hashem. Hey Shivchi Kamayim, Kamayim Libech. Hey Nochach B'nei Hashem. Ay 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 ay. Hey Shivchi Kamayim Libech. Hey Nochach B'nei Hashem. Hey Shivchi Kamayim, Kamayim Libech. Hey Nochach B'nei Hashem. Next it says Ani Mamin. There's so many Ani Mamins. My colleague did not tell me which Ani Mamin they sing by the Kosel Maravi. So we'll pick one and maybe we'll get the right one. I can't guarantee it. So many, I'm not sure which one I should choose. I want to choose the one which you probably many you don't even know. I spoke about it at the keynote today, which is that the Ani Maman was smuggled out of Auschwitz, which was made by a Chassidish Yid. I believe he perished in the war, and he wrote the music. He said, "Get out and send it to someone, and I'll give you Olam Haba." If you don't know it, forgive me, but this is the one which is the most emotional of them all. Ani Mamin, Ani Mamin, Ani Mamin. Hey, Behemuna Shelema. Hey, Beviat. Hey, Moshiach. Hey, Beviat Moshiach. Ani Mamin. Hey, Beviat Moshiach. Hey, Beviat Moshiach. Ani Mamin. Hey, Ani Mamin. Hey, Ani Mamin. Hey, Ani Mamin. Hey, Bemuna Shelema. Hey, Beviat. Hey, Moshiach. Hey, Beviat Moshiach. Ani Mamin. Hey, V'afapi Sheyismameya. Hayim kol zeh ani Mamin. Hey, V'afapi Sheyismameya. Hayim kol zeh ani Mamin. It brings tears to my eyes thinking about Kedoshim singing this song as they're about to be killed by the Nazis. And they're believing in Mashiach. And they're waiting for the Mashiach. And these Nazis are what? These people, they're about to be killed. And they're thinking about Mashiach. But that's what keeps us through all the generations. How many people went to their deaths when they had an alternative? The Nazis gave no alternative. People went to their deaths when they could have converted to Christianity. But they went to their deaths because they believed in the Mashiach. And they believed in Am Yisrael and the Torah, and they believed in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is a lesson for all generations. As I mentioned this morning on the Zoom, that there were those who were about to be killed. They sang a bit of a different tune. One of the people started singing a nice Yiddish folk tune, which I remember we used to hear it on the records as I was a youngster. Lama sich überbeten. A boy and a girl. They were going to get married. They're not going to get married. And at the end of the day, Lama schreiben Tnoim. That's how it ends. They should get married. And they were singing this tune as if they're going to somehow überbeten with HaKadosh Baruch Hu to reconcile with him. And one Yiddilah changed the words and started saying different words. Mivelin zei Iberlebes. We're going to outlive them. Here are Jews about to be shot, about to be gassed, and we're going to outlive them. Whether any of those people outlived them, I do not know. But Klal Yisrael outlived them. Klal Yisrael is still here. We're still going on carrying the traditions of the Torah from previous generations, all the way from our Sinai, from Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov. We continue to do it. We did outlive the Third Reich. We outlived Hitler. We outlived all of the people who try to kill us. These are the thoughts that go through my mind. They bring me to tears. We think about the mysterious nefesh. These heroes. We can't. It's beyond our comprehension. To understand these are people that could have been alive today. There are still survivors amongst us, Baruch Hashem. We have to continue this legacy. As I mentioned this morning, never to forget. We're not allowed to forget. We have to remember. We have to remember Churban Yerushalayim. We have to remember Churban Europe, when they killed more than 6 million people. Hashem Yerachem, Hashem Yimkom Dama. I don't know if we said a beautiful keynote this morning from Rav Schwab's. We so beautifully emphasized what exactly was happening then. As I mentioned then, I had relatives, uncles, aunts, and cousins that I never met who were killed by the Nazis, and how it hits me. Any Ashkenazi has some relatives who were killed by the Nazis, if not so direct as mine. And the truth to be told, we all are one nation. We all have to cry over this terrible genocide that happened in the memory of people who are still alive today. We have to keep this memory alive. We are not permitted to forget. We must remember. The next thing is Vahavi Osim. I assume it's this tune. Vahavi Osim El HaKochi V'simachim B'vei Sefilasi Ay Vahavi Osim El HaKochi V'simachim B'vei Sefilasi Ay Allah Oseyem V'zivcheihem L'rata Al Mizbechi Ki Veisi Veisefila Yikarei Lechol Ha'amim Ayolo Seichem V'zivcheihem L'ratzon Al Mizbechi Ki Veisi Veisefila The eschatology of Am Yisrael is not limited to Am Yisrael. All nations of the world will come that glorious day, to recognize the Ribono Shalom. We say it every single day in Al Kenekava. We say it so many times in our tefillos. We believe in all of mankind, that all of mankind has a relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore we cherish all human life, a very important principle. We believe in the sanctity of all human life. We believe that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave Tzelem Elokim to everyone. Chaviv Adam Shenivra B'Tzelem Elokim. At the same time, we bemoan the fact that so many people have shorn the Tzelem Elokim, Rachmana Litzlan, as the Nazis did. They had no Tzelem Elokim. It was they eliminated it. They behaved like animals in murdering people in horrific ways. And therefore we have to beware that there may be others who unfortunately are either eliminating or diminishing the Tzelem Elokim. And we believe we want to enhance the Tzelem Elokim of each and every member of the human race, particularly for Am Yisrael, as the Mishnah continues in Avos, Shenikro Bonim Lamoko. We are all Bonim Lamoko. We are all sons of the Ribono Shel Olam, each and every one of us. That makes us all brothers. As someone just chatted me, everyone had a brother who was lost in the Holocaust, because we're all brothers. We are all brothers. And there's the Machlokas HaTanoim. We are Bonim, Bein Osim Ritzono, Bein Ein Osim Ritzono. That's found in our Slichos, even in a little bit in the keynotes. We paskin that we're all Bonim, even those who strayed are Bonim. They're perhaps wayward sons, but they're still sons of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He views them as children. He's waiting for them to return. Unfortunately, in the real world that we live in, the vast majority of Achenu B'nai Yisrael, our brothers, sons of Hashem, are wayward. They have cast aside Torah mitzvahs. Some have even intermarried. Some are completely unaffiliated. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy of epic proportions. There was a whole dispute recently in the Holy Land when a particular minister used the word a spiritual holocaust. And they came down on him. Are you allowed to use it? You're not allowed to use it. It was used many times before. I'm not going there. Leave out the word. It's a spiritual disaster when so many members of Am Yisrael are just leaving. They're leaving. They call the vanishing American Jew, whether through assimilation or through intermarriage or both. Hashem Yishma v'Yirachem. But we believe they are still banim lamokim Yisrael avat b'shachata Yisraelu. And if we are able to bring them closer, this is our responsibility. Some people call this kiruv. In today's world, we all have this mandate to do what we can to bring individuals who have strayed back to the Kodesh Baruch Hu. None of the strong-arm tactics that are spoken about in the Gemara about Avodah Zarah work today. The Chazon Ish already said it would be viewed as hooliganism. Can't use it. We have to, on the contrary, bring people close to Kodesh Baruch Hu. The truth is that almost all of these people, almost all, are Tinuk Shenishba. Their parents already were non-observant. And they have a special place in our hearts. But even those who are not, we still have to try to bring them back, as the Rambam explains, the Chazon Ish elaborates. We have to remember that there's going to be a time in the future when the Heishiv Avos Albanim Levanim Alavosim within Klal Yisrael, and even the Avayosim, basically Beitzili Kore L'chol Amin, all the nations of the world, all the nations, all the people will one day recognize the Kodesh Baruch Hu. This is the main theme of Rosh Hashanah. Coming up, before you turn around, we're already preparing minyanim for Rosh Hashanah, here, inside, outside, this time, that time. Let's think about it now. You might open my mouth already. I never opened my mouth before Tisha B'Av. I opened my mouth, we have to know we have to cut out these piyutim and those piyutim. My mouth was already on my table. I guess one good thing about this crisis, you think about Rosh Hashanah earlier, which maybe we should be doing each and every year. Maybe we should be doing that. But it's important to understand, the Aviyosim is in the Tefillah of Rosh Hashanah as well. And I want to say one thing. Hashiveinu Hashem Elecha v'Nashuva, we said it before, that's what we say in Chodesh Av. In Chodesh El we say, Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. And some Chachamim explain that in Av, we ask our Kodesh Baruch Hu to take the first step. Hashiveinu, and then v'Nashuva. We ask. When we come to Chodesh El, which is upon us in 3 weeks, we have to take the initiative. Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. We have to come closer to Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's what El is all about. El is upon us. Rabbosai, we have to start preparing now. A year like this, for El and the Yom and the Roim, the last one on this agenda, which is not my last one, is Kol Barama. Kol Barama is also the last of our Shalashudas Nigunim that we sing every Shabbos in Camp Marashah in Pennsylvania. And yes, we have the same sheets we do here in our Shalashudas here in Young Israel of Riverdale. So please join for this Kol Barama. I think this is the one that they have in mind, although there are many others. We'll do this one. Kol Barama Nishma. Hey, Kol Barama Nishma. Nehi B'chi Samrurim Rachel Mivaka Al Baneha Kol Barama Nishma. Kol Barama Nishma. Nehi B'chi Samrurim Rachel Mivaka Al Baneha Rachel Mivaka Al Baneha Meyana Lehinachem Al Baneha Ki Einenu Rachel Rachel Mivako Habonea Me'ana Linachem Alboneha Ki Einenu Ko Amar Hashem Ko Amar Hashem Mini Kolech Mi Bechi V'enayich Midimah Ki Yesh Tachal Lepulasei Niyum Hashem Vishavu Me'eretz Hoyev V'yesh Tikva V'yesh Tikva Li'acharitech Ne'um Hashem Vishavu Hanim Legulam V'yesh Tikva V'yesh Tikva Li'acharitech Ne'um Hashem Vishavu Hanim Legulam. I believe it was Shweki who sang, I think in 3 languages, English, Yiddish, and Hebrew. But Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, Chatzadik Levracha, would say, when he came to Kever Rachel, he says, the Rebbeinu Shalom is telling you, Rachel, Mini Kolech Mi Bechi, don't cry. And he would call his name, say, Vein Mama Rachel Vein, keep crying for your children. Remember, it was the tears of Rachel Imenu, to which HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened. The Medrash Rabbah in the introduction to Eicha says, Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov and Moshe Rabbeinu failed. Only Rachel succeeded. I explained Pshat last night, my interpretation. Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov and Moshe Rabbeinu invoked their incredible schusim, unbelievable schusim. He was thrown into the fire. He was at the Akedah and the Mizbeach, the little Tzargi Lubanim and the Kabbalah Satorah. They were all Ben Adam Lamokom. But Rachel invoked her schus of the Mesiras HaSimonim to assist the Leah. Ben Adam Lachaveiro. And because of this, Nichmeru Rachma Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kevayachol. And therefore, it's not enough for us to say, Vein Mama Rachel Vein. We have to follow her example. We have to follow her example and do what we can Ben Adam Lachaveiro. This is what caused the Churban by Hasheni, which has been so long. Bira Tochiach, the sin of Chinam, is even worse than the 3 cardinal sins of Maris Rishon, believe it or not. Chazal says so, Masechta Yuma. And therefore, it's incumbent upon us to improve in our Ben Adam Lachaveiro in order to bring the Mashiach closer, to bring the Beis HaMikdash closer, to bring the Gula Shlema closer. This is the lesson we learn from Rachel Imenu. And one more thing. Tznius Shahis of Rachel calls it Masechta Megillah, which means no one knew about it. There are different versions of who did know, who didn't know. But certainly the whole world didn't know about this. If not for Chazal, we wouldn't know about it. When a person does good deeds, whether Ben Adam Lamokom, especially on Chavero, do it with tznius. Rachel didn't say anything. She's plach shtika. She said nothing. She absorbed a lot. We have to try our best to do the same. Chesed, but do it with tznius. My official agenda is up. I want to know from the people in the room and the Zoom, should I continue? You say yes, give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down. I don't mind thumbs down. The Roman gladiators did it. Okay, the thumbs are so far are all up. We'll continue a few more minutes. I'd like to, thank you for raising your hand. I'd like to end with a series of nigunim from Shlomo Kalbach. The first one I want to sing I believe it's something which I always sing at this time of the year. It's someone not, I don't know why it's not on their agenda. The song is Nachamu. We're at the end of Tisha B'Av. The Shkia is in an hour. 1 hour, I'm talking in New York, 1 hour. I don't know where you are, different times. You're already over by now, I don't know where you are. We're about to enter into Shabbos Nachamu. Shabbos Nachamu. That beautiful tape, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, which we got in the 80s. I still remember it. It was a hiatus in my family. Until I was married, we were into Shlomo Kabach's music. When I got married, I had no time for these things. When my children got a little bit older, and one of our Choshev neighbors introduced us, a few of them, back to it. My children got so into it, and that was the one that did it. It was that Nachamu tape, that unbelievable Nachamu tape that we still have such great affection for. This is the song Nachamu. You know that you say that my sons were supposed to be on this Zoom. I don't know if any of them are, but you know that I don't do a Kumzits with any instruments on Tisha B'Av. I never did a Kumzits at all on Tisha B'Av. But come to my shul if you're welcome to come on Shabbos Nach, Moshe Shabbos Nach, where I will take out the guitar, and the first tune is going to be Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. And that is the song which I use to teach 4 of my children how to play the guitar. My 2 sons have far exceeded me in their musical talents. My son Avram is even a composer, Lev Avos 1, 2, and part of 3. My son Simcha is an outstanding musician in his own right. But I taught 2 of my daughters also. They also learned the guitar, but this is Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. You'll have to get a private audience with them if you wish to hear them. Anyway, but this is the reason I taught it, because it's only two chords. For those who know a little bit of music, it's only A minor and G, nothing else. A simple plaintive tune. Let's sing it together. Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. Yomar Elokeichem, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, Yomar Elokeichem, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, Yomar Elokeichem, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, Yomar Elokeichem. Dabru alev Yerushalayim, v'kiyiru eleha. Dabru alev Yerushalayim, v'kiyiru Not everyone realized that Nachamu, Nachamu Ami is not spoken to Am Yisrael. It's spoken to the Nevi'im, that they have the responsibility of offering consolation to Am Yisrael. And now that we have no Nevi'im, I feel it's the responsibility of Rabbanim, such as myself, to bring consolation to Klal Yisrael. And during Corona, a consolation is a Zoom with hundreds of people on it, and people in the back of me in the room. This is my little contribution to Nachamu, Nachamu, to bring consolation. So many families have lost either friends or relatives or parnassus in this terrible crisis. A little Nachama with a little Kumzits brings a bit of Nachama to the Am Yisrael. That's our responsibility. I almost never said no. People asking during do this, say this, Zoom this. How can you say no? You have an acharayis, the Klal Yisrael, in times such as these. We always have acharayis, but especially in times such as these. We just sang before the Kol Barama, which ends the Shavu Banim Legvula. Reb Shlomo has a beautiful niggun for that too. Please join. Vishavu vanim, Vishavu vanim, Vishavu vanim ligvulam. Vishavu vanim, Vishavu vanim, Vishavu vanim ligvulam. Hay Vishavu vanim, Hay Vishavu vanim, Hay Vishavu vanim, Vishavu vanim, Vishavu vanim ligvulam, Vishavu vanim, Hay Vishavu vanim, Hay Vishavu vanim, Vishavu vanim, Vishavu vanim ligvulam. And my Shabbos Chazon Tish, the first niggin is always Shivchi Kamayim. The second niggin is always Hashivenu. Not the slow one that we did from the Vekus, but a little bit of a fast. So you haven't done any fast nigunim yet. Not even one. We have to end in a few minutes. I don't know what they do by the Kosel Maravi. Maybe it's not appropriate. They're sitting on the floor. But we're going to end with a number of somewhat fast nigunim, starting with this one. And everyone join me together. We'll sing it first slow. Slowly. Hashivenu Hashem, Hashem Elecha, V'noshuva Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem. Ay Hashivenu Hashem, Hashem Elecha, V'noshuva Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem. And now fast. Dam da da dam da da dam da da dam dam dai 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 dam da da dam da da dam da da dam dam dai 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 dam da da dam da da dam da da dam dam dai 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 dam da da dam da da dam da da dam dam dai 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 dam da da dam da da dam da da dam dam Hi dai dai dam da da dam da da dam da da dam dam. Hi dai 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 da da dai 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 dai. Hashivenu Hashem, Shem Elecha, V'noshuva Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem. Hashivenu Hashem, Shem Elecha, V'noshuva Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem. Our last one. Some of you may have to go down a mincha. There'll be a mincha here in our shul soon. We have to thank Rabbi Rav Shur. This is his brainchild. He arranged all the technical stuff. and I'm going to quote Rav Shur in a moment. The niggun we're going to sing now, it's called Yibana HaMikdash. It's a Shlomo Carlebach niggun. We sang this once in Morashah, one of the Malchus guitars, so many times, and so lebedik. Rob told me he was sure the Mashiach was going to come. Right then and there. It was such a spirit, and such a Yibana HaMikdash, he was sure it was going to happen. I wasn't so sure, and maybe when we sing Yibana HaMikdash now, it really will happen. We don't know. But as the Mefarshim explained, every tear that is shed goes into a cup which will one day overflow. Every niggin, every tefillah for the Beit HaMikdash is listened to by Kodesh Baruch Hu. And who knows if this last niggin for the Kumzits today will just bring it over the top, so we'll be able to experience Yibana HaMikdash very, very quickly. Please join for this grand finale. Please. Yibane, Yibane, Yibane HaMikdash, Itzion, Itzion, Itzion Temale, Yibane, Yibane, Yibane HaMikdash, Itzion, Itzion, Itzion Temale, Bisham Nashir Shir Chadash, Uvinana. Itzion Temale, Yibane, Yibane, Yibane HaMikdash, Itzion, Itzion, Itzion Temale, Visham Nashir Shir Chadash, Uvinana Nale, Visham Nashir Shir Chadash, Uvinana Nale. Again, Yibane, Yibane, Yibane HaMikdash, Itzion, Itzion, Itzion Temale, Yibane, Yibane, Yibane HaMikdash, Itzion, Itzion, Itzion Temale, Visham Nashir Shir Chadash, Uvinana Nale, Visham Nashir Shir Chadash, Uvinana Nale. Before we sing this thing one final time, I want to again thank Rabbi Rav Shur for arranging this whole thing. I see on my screen Harav Yisrael Kamenetsky Shalita, and he is the one, I didn't want to identify him because he wasn't on the screen before, who gave me this beautiful agenda of Nigunim. We thank Rabbi Yisrael, we wish him well, he should feel well, and all of us should experience the Geula Shlema B'Meheira. One more time. Yibane, Yibane, Yibane HaMikdash, Itzion, Itzion, Itzion Temale, Yibane, Yibane, Yibane HaMikdash, Itzion, Itzion, Itzion Temale, Bisham Nashir Shir Chadash, Uvinana Nale, Bisham Nashir Shir Chadash, Uvinana Nale, Lishana Haba Birushalayim. Thank you all for joining and making this Kumzits a very meaningful Kiddush Hashem Barabim. And the Kiddush Hashem Barabim is greater than one B'Yachid. We should be Zochah with a big Rabbim to join together in Yerushalayim B'Mheira V'Yameinu. Kol Tov.